Hello, Kevin Barry speaking. Thanks for logging on to the third of our 6-minute session webinars. We're just going to run through the next part, which is looking at what you can do, and if things don't work out, what can be done against you. The main purpose of these webinars is to educate people on why they shouldn't be afraid when they're dealing with their lender as to what can happen if they can't meet their obligations. I mean, it won't all go brilliant, but it's not going to be the end of the world by a long shot, okay? So I'll run through the main items. I suppose to start off, that picture more or less sums it up. If any of you saw the film of the same name, the Salem Witch Trials, it's where rumours were put out, people were hunted down and murdered simply because one crowd didn't like the thoughts of another gang. And it's a bit like this. If you can't pay the bank, you're hunted down, put up against the wall and not shot, but that's the type of threats that are levelled at people. So relax. But I'll go back to my earlier webinars. If you're under financial pressure or you're under medication, you cannot think straight. If you cannot think straight, you can't make proper decisions. And 50% of what we do for people at the very start is try and fix those wrong decisions, and it isn't easy. Okay, so let's try and reduce making them in the first place, making those wrong decisions. The main thing a lender will threaten to do is call in the debt and say, pay us. They'll stick you in the High Court if there's a fair bit owing, and they'll seek a summary judgment over you, which means if you sell any of your unmortgaged assets, they'll get paid before you get paid, as long as you have something. So even if you haven't told them about a property you own, the solicitor on either side will check to see is there judgments against your name. Now there's a couple of things there. Is the property in your name or not? If it's mortgaged to somebody else, then there would have to be money left over. And if they try to seize it or repossess it and sell it, which they can try and enforce a judgment, that's cost thousands, and it may not yield any money either. There might be other problems down the road, so they can hire bailiffs and that, but it's where is the stuff, whose name is it in, and it's not an area that people are that mad about. The last thing is, if you owe more than what you own, in other words you're in complete negative equity, you can opt for either a personal insolvency arrangement, and you need to hire someone to negotiate that for you, or go with the bankruptcy route. And this sounds a bit fatal, but actually it's not. Loads of people have done it, and all the lads and ladies who went bankrupt in the UK a couple of years ago are all back in action now. You'll find people who are innovative and deal makers rise pretty fast, okay? But just remember, the lender is in control. They're not interested in you and your sob story. They don't want to hear about the offers you turned down. They don't want to hear about what stuff used to be worth. They just want to get back as much as they can. So they'll keep taking money off you as long as you pay them, but eventually you will run out unless you've got good money coming in. Just recognise the following: if you've nothing to give, they can't take anything off you. Okay? And if you have something to give, is it sellable? So people who might take a judgment against you, they can hire a bailiff. That's more money to go collect goods. Can he get it? There has to be notices served. They have to get in. They have to sell it. It's a pain in the neck job. You have to be a particular type of person to do it. So don't be worrying too much about that. If it happens, they're not going to come and put you out of the house anyway. That's a different scene. MARP. If your home mortgage is in arrears and you're heavily behind in it, okay. Now this is laborious stuff. We do a lot of this for people. But effectively, the way to work is to fill out this form, which is a very detailed document. You fill it out once, and it details all the money you've coming in, where it's going. Now a banker will try and get you to not pay anyone else and keep paying them, but effectively what you want to do is you want to get a long-term arrangement that keeps you in your house. Okay? And the reason that's important, and the item we're aiming at here, is a split mortgage. This is where you're making a real dent in what you owe. Okay? But effectively, if we're going to end up doing a deal and getting some of your debt written off over 5 years, you've got to have this MARP issue done. You've got to have this long-term situation hit. But extending terms and paying interest only is a waste of time. We've got to start paying down debt. Okay, that's it. We've got to hold out for that. But we won't get moving until we sort out the MARP issue. So if you try and get a debt write-off, a judge won't allow that unless you've tried one of these 8 items. Now I know you can read, but effectively the only one that makes sense is a split mortgage. Okay, that's for a different day. This personal insolvency laws and arrangements are up in the air a bit. The laws are in, but the judges aren't in. No one's fully licensed and geared up yet. But it's well established in the north of Ireland. It works very well. Our scene here isn't as well written, but it'll probably develop properly. Okay. Bankruptcy. Listen, banks go mad when you say I'm going to go bankrupt. It means you walk away from them, but you give up everything. That's your big negotiating point. Rather than fight and argue and starve yourself, you're willing to give up everything, live off, say, 400 or 500 a week, rent a nice house, and push on. Okay, you'll get back on your feet quick enough if you've a way about you. Okay, in Ireland there's a 3-year monitoring period. It can be extended, but effectively it's 3 years. It suits people who can't leave for one reason or another. There might have reasons they have to stay, but otherwise the UK approach, getting on the plane, establishing a genuine presence over there, is attractive to many. So if you have more questions, that's us. Email us on barryaccountants.ie. Okay, there's a bit more there. If you click on the services, you see a lot of what we do, or under our free webinars. You can phone us on any personal questions or email us. The email is kevin@kevinbarry.ie or info@barryaccountants.ie. Alright, next webinar, July 26th at 1:30, and that's what it's about. I want to really show you what the real cost of mortgages is. Okay, thanks very much. There's a plan B on offer you as well. Okay, bye.